Yes, people, welcome back to the Knots Cave. This time we're going to take a look at the little trip I made a few months ago to Blackpool Video Games Expo, have a look around the event and see all the awesome pickups that we got. Some brilliant Sega Saturn games in there, people. Can't wait to get to those at the end. But before we start that, I would just like to say a fond farewell and thank you to the phenomenal 16 Bits and Bobs, ladies and gentlemen. He used to come in and turn up the enthusiasm. Yes, he did. He was one YouTuber with more energy than anyone I've ever seen. I want to inject a little bit of that into the Knots Cave next year because he will be sorely missed. Please, Alex, stay in the comments. Your content's amazing and all the best to you, my friend. But anyway, let's take a look. What happened in Blackpool? I'm sure it was in September, the end of September this year. Let's jump over to Blackpool and have a walk down to the Norbeck, people. See what was there. Yes, people! Well, for the second year running, I'm in Blackpool, heading down to the Norbeck. Really busy this morning. It's dead cold. It's not windy.
It's a long walk there, but we will make it. And hopefully have some fun playing some arcade games. So yes.
Should be a laugh. Got lots of tubers to meet, lots of arcade games to play. So let's get in there and see what it's all about. Yes, people! So just like last year, people, the first thing you notice when you walk through the front door is the wall of arcade machines in front of you. The small slice of arcade history laid out in this hall from the 80s, 90s and beyond. There's plenty of nice arcade machines in there for anybody from any generation to just walk past, press start on and play, which is always good. And I'm happy to report that most of these machines remained working this year, so hats off to the people that were maintaining them. It's no easy task when you've got some 40-somethings thumping the controls all day, so well done, people, for keeping those machines up and running. There was loads of stuff to play in there. I did spend a lot of time with the original Robocop again because I've got a real soft spot for that arcade machine. And R-Type Leo did make a return visit too, because that is one brilliant shooter that's very underrated. I do enjoy that. Also, while I was there, I met up with Marathon Gaming Scott and Alex from U-Star Gamer, or U-Star Gamer. Sorry, mate, I really don't know how to say that. I've got to, you've got to slap me next time you see me. But these are two phenomenal YouTubers, guys. We had a lovely time walking around the event, playing some arcade games together. And my personal favourite moment from the whole event is when we had our little point blank tournament and we figured out who the fastest finger in the YouTube community is. Yes. Here at Blackpool, we have two YouTubers up against each other on a game. Last year we had Hobby Lodge and Retro Beats on Arcade Plus. Now we have U-Star Gamer and Marathon Gaming taking on Point Blank. U-Star Gamer is definitely going to please some women with that finger. Yes.
Well, the answer to the question of who's got the fastest finger in all of Blackpool was answered as U-Star Gamer managed to power the lights with his rapid finger pressing on Point Blank. Look at that, the lights came on as he was shooting, ladies and gentlemen. What a professional. Look at this. The deadpan concentration from two of YouTube's giants. Yes. Who's going to win? Who's going to win? Oh, yes, a celebration from Scott. Oh, look at that. Shake some moves, my friend.
Ooh, the concentration. Get concentrated, love.
Come on!
So after goading the players, I attempted to tackle them myself and got absolutely stuffed by both Marathon Gaming and U-Star Gamer. Yes, I need some practice. But while I was flicking through this old footage of me getting absolutely stuffed, I did find a lovely pitch for my Girth Tuber of the Year. But unfortunately I didn't use this. Check this one out, it's great.
Vote for Knots Gamer or get shot in the cock.
So after being humiliated at Point Blank, I had a little bit of a dance with R2-D2 and then further drowned my sorrows by standing around watching the Saturn Bomberman tournament. Awesome stuff. Later on during the day, I got to spend some time with friend and fellow YouTuber Sai from Ginger Hippie Gaming. The poor chap wasn't well during the event, as a lot of people weren't. There seems to have been a bug going around, so he didn't really get to enjoy it in the capacity that he wanted to. So it was very nice to spend a little bit of time with him while we were there, and a lot of that time was spent playing Roadrunner, ladies and gents. Honestly, this game is a lot more fun than it looks. Battlezone's another one we spent a bit of time with. This classic arcade first-person vector graphics tank shooter is a brilliant twin-stick shooter and a lot of fun to play. Unfortunately, the cabinet we were playing on, though the controls worked, one of the sticks was very, very loose, felt a little bit knackered, so it pulled you out of the game slightly, but it was a lot of fun to play. After that, we traipsed up and down the room, playing all kinds of 8-bit microcomputers. We can see sat down here playing Snapper on one of the Acorns. I think it's the Electron. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, especially you, Si, because I know you know what you were playing there. Well, we were sat here filming this as well. He got snapped and featured in the Blackpool Gazette on their write-up of the show. And yes, in an absolute moment of insanity, we unleashed the plastic jacket guy on the unsuspecting people around us at Blackpool. Man, it was hot in there, and I forgot to press record the first time, so the second reactions aren't quite as good.
Because I didn't press record, I'm going to say hello to you again, because I'm a bit of a twat. I'm going to come round here and say hello to my favourite friend, Alex and Simon here. Yes, there's some more people behind me here. As you can see all around here, there's plenty of people from the land of YouTube and plenty of people from the land of video gaming. So I'm going to go and have a pint, play some arcade games, mate. See you later.
Luckily for everybody, it was way too hot in there to keep that stupid outfit on, so it came off in less than 2 minutes. But it was a lot of fun meeting up with all these YouTubers. I forget your names, ladies and gents, because it's been so long, so I'm not even going to mention anyone in the comments, but look at them all. Beautiful people. Yes. Straight after that, our attention was turned to the big stage in the centre of the room as John Romero sat down to take on gamers, his own creation, Doom. Oh yes, people, it's so good to see a dev this good that he's unbeatable at his own creation. Though players put up a good effort, in the end it was to no avail, as he absolutely is unbeatable at his own creation. Shortly after the final challenger was defeated, we headed over to the merchandise room, met the man himself, congratulated him on his victory, picked a crafty little bit of merchandise up for the Knots Cave, and then on to explore the merchandise room to see what games we can find this year. So looking around the trading room, the table layout was virtually the same as it was the previous year, but each table had twice as much stuff on offer, people. There were so many games to sift through that I myself did quite a few laps before I ever made my first purchase. It's always advisable to have a look around the room a little bit first before you buy anything, because some games can be £10 on one stall and you can walk across the room to another one and see the same one for 25 or 30 quid. So it always pays to have a good look around and not just jump straight in and snap that game up you want. It's always worth haggling with these traders as well, especially when you're buying in bulk. Some of the mark prices have been on there for ages or are out of whack, so always make sure to ask for a little bit of cheeky discount, because it always helps and most of the time it pays off. So yes, enjoy yourself while you're walking around at these events. There's so much stuff on offer. There was one stall in particular that I spent a lot of time looking at the systems on, because he sold pre-modified systems. He had some lovely orange Sega Dreamcasts that were just good to go with all the modern connections and GDMU modifications, which was really nice. And there were other stalls selling rafts of retro games, sweets, gadgets, bits and bobs. Honestly, it's been so long since I walked around this event, I can't remember exactly which traders were there, so I won't name any in particular, to be perfectly honest, but there were definitely more games there this year, and it's definitely worth haggling when you're looking around these things if you're looking for some of those retro games to stick on your shelf, people. So after wandering around the trading tables and buying some games, I sat down with Ustar Gamer and we played Xeno Crisis on the Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive for a bit, and we won ourselves some cool t-shirts, which was really nice. And then wandering around the outside of the room, I couldn't help but stop by the Numbskull stand as they were showing off some really, really cool arcade cabinets there, some fantastic ones. I did have my eye on the Ninja Turtles one, and plenty of the others in there, but even the little mini Pepsi machines and stuff looked pretty cool. And just to the right of that were some handheld games from back in the day, guys, from the early 80s that really brought back some memories and a bit of nostalgia for those years gone by. Yes. Anyway, that's pretty much it for Blackpool Video Game Expo, so let's wrap this one up and disappear, ladies and gents. I've just finished at Play Expo Blackpool, on the way back to my hotel. Going to jump in the car. I'll see you guys over at the Knots bench. Some cool stuff that we picked up while we were in Blackpool. Bloody traffic, mate. Yes, people! So here we are, back in the Knots Cave, ready to look through the spoils that we picked up at Play Expo in Blackpool. So yes, the first game we picked up was WrestleMania Challenge on the NES. This game is one from my childhood. I used to play with a friend when I was a lot younger. It features all the biggest wrestlers from the 90s then. We got the Hulkster, we got the Warrior, we got the Boss Man, we got Randy Savage, Andre the Giant. It just goes on. There's loads of them in this game. It was absolutely smeg loads of fun to play when I was a kid. And picking it up in this condition's not too bad, guys, because I only paid about 10 quid for it. That picture of Andre the Giant's quite amusing, isn't it? Yes, looks tricked out. But yeah, man, it's got tag team, it's got survivor, it's got a lot of stuff in for a little tiny NES cartridge. You do get a lot of flickering on the graphics, but it's displaying a lot of sprites. It was a lot of fun to play and a very nostalgic little trip to have. So picking this up was well worth it, man. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to play this quite a bit, even though I can't remember how to play it. Now, the next few games I picked up from the Wave game stand because I love my Dreamcast, and the first one is Yeahbbis on the Sega Dreamcast. This is an NES-style platform game where the idea is to kill the enemies on the screen before you run out of time or before you run out of health. It's a really simple premise, but incredibly tricky because some of the level layouts can be really, really difficult to navigate. This game's a lot of fun to play, really challenging, and according to the back of the box, after 10 stages you get a boss. Didn't get 10 stages in, so it is rather tricky, and I'm going to enjoy playing this one a fair bit. I do like my old NES games, and the chip tunes sound really cool on this one. The next game we picked up from the Wave game stand was the very interestingly titled Driving Strikers for the Sega Dreamcast. Yeah, it looked a little bit like Rocket League when I was looking at it on the TV, but I tell you what, this is just football with cars at a different dimension. It's really, really fun to play. It's going to be absolutely amazing with 4 players in front of a Dreamcast as well, so that'd be absolutely brilliant to see. And it's got online support as well, people. This game, if you've got a broadband adapter, you can play this online with anybody else that's got a Dreamcast and a copy of Driving Strikers. Yes, the first online game I've seen on the Dreamcast in a very long time. It looks rather simple, but when you've been playing this for a while, it's incredibly addictive to play. The final game we picked up whilst in Blackpool for the Dreamcast is Bitmap Bureau's Xeno Crisis, a menacingly difficult 16-bit twin-stick shooter which is akin to games like Smash TV and Robotron. The idea is to clear the rooms of all enemies and search for the room with the boss in at the end, whilst rescuing hostages and collecting power-ups on the way. This game is on an inescapable amount of formats. I first played this on the Evercade. It's also available on the Mega Drive, the Neo Geo, and whilst in Blackpool we got to play a work-in-progress version of the Super Nintendo port of the game. We even played this on a modified Mega Drive controller with 2 D-pads on, which makes the game so much more fun to play. The Dreamcast version is no different from any other version of the game that's out there. It plays exactly the same. It's got the same screen-filling bosses and crazy effects. But I highly recommend that if you're playing this alone, you start on easy because it's a very difficult game. But if not, play it with a friend because this is one tough game. Next up we have the first of many Sega Saturn games I picked up in Blackpool, and that first game is
MXTT Superbike.
MXTT is a port of the 1995 AM3 arcade racer of the same name. It came out in 1997 for the Sega Saturn and was ported by Tantalus Interactive. The PAL version of the game received massive optimizations, but unfortunately they bodged up the timing on that game, and it is almost impossible to win some of the races. You run out of time way before you should, even if you're clearly half a lap in front of the nearest rival. So buying the Japanese version of this game, I can happily confirm that I can now complete MXTT with time to spare and experience everything this game has to offer without putting an unprecedented amount of time in to beating that devilish timer in the PAL version. Not only that, it runs at a better frame rate too, and is a lot cheaper than the PAL version of the game. So if you want to experience MXTT on the Sega Saturn, pick up the Japanese version, people, and you'll be able to play as intended.
Approaching the checkpoint.
Next up, we have another one of those Sega Saturn games that can introduce itself, people. Waku Waku 7 is an absolutely bonkers beat-em-up from Sunsoft, released for the Sega Saturn in the late 90s. It came out around about the time the Street Fighter craze was hitting fever pitch, people, and everybody was chucking their fighting games in the ring. But the difference between most of those games and Waku Waku 7 is that they got the formula right with this game. It's a fighting game that really flows. It's got a decent combo system. It's got some very interesting characters, great animations, really clear looking backgrounds and stuff. So as fighting games go, this one really does stand out amongst the crowd. And I mean a real crowd in the 90s. There were fighting games everywhere. So Waku Waku 7 is one of those games that caught me by surprise more than anything. I was expecting a mediocre game like Galaxy Fight or World Heroes. But no, Waku Waku 7, guys, is a really interesting beat 'em up. And for all you Saturn collectors that like your 2D stuff, if you haven't got this already, check it out. So our next game is a little bit of a mouthful for the Sega Saturn. We have Devour Heaven and Earth 2 Battle of Red Cliffs. Well, at least that's the best translation I could get out of Google Lens. There's absolutely zero English on this box. I've looked at this game so many times and thought it looks like a scrolling beat 'em up. I have to try it, I have to try it. I saw this at a rather decent price. I'm not sure if it's supposed to come in a bigger box set because usually there's English on the spine of Saturn games. If anyone knows why on this one, please let me know in the comments because it's a bit of a mystery game to me. But to be perfectly honest, guys, I'm glad I bought it because it's a really good 2D beat 'em up, much like Final Fight. The only difference with this is your characters do come with special moves, as I found out after I'd already completed the game once, that you can do different moves by pressing up and down and A and etc. So there's lots of Capcom style special moves to pull off while you're fighting. It's more difficult than it sounds to pull these moves off, especially when you're surrounded by loads of enemies. But this is just one of those beat 'em ups where the screen fills with so many sprites and it gets quite chaotic. It's a lot of fun to play, and I can imagine a lot more fun with two people. I always do say this, but I like picking up these games, and I'm sure they're a hell of a lot more fun if you're playing them with a friend, especially if you've got two arcade sticks as well. Great Saturn game. The next game we have is the first shooter we purchased for the Sega Saturn in Blackpool, and that game is Thunder Force Gold Pack number 2. This game comes stuffed with not only the arcade version of Thunder Force, but also Thunder Force 4. Two excellent but somewhat really difficult shooters in one package. You're not going to walk through these games in one sitting, people. I got to about the third stage of the arcade version before running out of lives and credits, so it's going to be a tough, challenging game. And exactly the same with Thunder Force 4. I don't even think I made it through the first stage of that game, so a lot of replay is required to learn the game's difficult stages. But that's the fun part with shoot 'em ups, guys. The repetition is the key. Though Thunder Force 4 did seem rather familiar, like I'd played it on a format when I was younger, maybe the Mega Drive, I'm not too sure. Did it come out on the Mega Drive? Let me know in the comments. The final Sega Saturn game is another shoot 'em up. It's another Technosoft game. It's Thunder Force 5. Yes, the first Thunder Force game to be in 3D on the Saturn, and it runs buttery smooth for the most part, with only minor bouts to slow down when the screen really does fill up with enemies. It's a lot more forgiving than the Thunder Force arcade and Thunder Force 4 on the previous game. I managed to actually finish this one on the lowest difficulty, which is insultingly called Kids Mode, but I managed to get through it anyway, so it's a lot easier to complete and to have fun with than Thunder Force Gold Pack was. That's a really hardcore shooter compared to this one. It looks absolutely beautiful on the Sega Saturn. There's lots of 3D stuff going off on the screen with minimal slowdown, lots of impressive things to see, and it's a great shooter, guys, so check it out if you love Saturn shooters. The next two games were a gift from site Ginger Hippie Gaming. Thanks a lot, mate. The first of those games is Lemmings for the Game Boy, a port of the 16-bit Amiga Classic to Nintendo's 8-bit. It's a rather faithful port. The levels are all there, none of the sound effects are there. The music is there in quirky chiptune format, but the controls are very counterintuitive. Playing Lemmings without a mouse is very difficult. The next game we got was Quicks, which is a simple puzzle game for the Game Boy, which involves you colouring in the level to a certain percentage to pass that and move on to the next level, while at the same time avoiding the enemies. Very frustrating game to play, but great pick up and play puzzler. Cheers, Si. Nice one, mate. Also, whilst in the merchandise room, I picked up the greatest thing I've got from any Expo. Check this out, people. We have a signed Doom hat. Yes, by John Romero, the man himself. Absolutely amazing. I'm so glad to have picked that up. I've got nowhere to store it at the moment. Should I wear it in my videos? Let me know in the comments. I also couldn't resist picking up a few pin badges while I was there. We've got a lovely Doom floppy disk badge here. And the menacingly tiny Caco Demon badge. Honestly, it reminds me of Rampage Tulk. So tiny. Yes, but evil at the same time, okay? So yeah, that's what we picked up off the Doom stand when we had a chat with John Romero. What a guy as well. Whilst walking past the Evercade stand, we had a quick go on one of their competitions, and I won myself some Full Void goodies. We got a little pin badge, we got a set of stickers, which I lost most of. The guy with the torch for the face is the only one we have left, and a little bit of information about the game, which I've recently purchased for the Evercade but not played. Marathon Gaming entered the competition as well and walked away with a cartridge, so some of the prizes were definitely worth being in the contest for. Now, unfortunately, over to him, because I'm going to let him show you some stickers. So the first sticker we have is Capcom. Yes, don't know where I'm going to stick it. Don't know where he's going to stick it. Capcom. Yes, awesome Capcom. The second one this game requires me to show you is Nintendo, ladies and gentlemen. You know, with cutesy stuff and awesome games. Yes. Don't know where he's going to stick that one either. And finally, and he's told me to say this correctly, we have Sega to stick on his wall, or his door, or his face. I don't care. It's Sega. Yes. Back to you. What do you mean back to me? I've shown everything at this end, mate. Just show him the picture like I told you to. Really? Want me to hold it up? Yes, hold it up. Like we discussed, hold it up. The reason for having you on here is for you to just do something simple. Now hold up the picture. You sure we're going to be able to see this? I mean, you've got lights everywhere, mate. Mate, if you ever want to be in another video again, just hold up the picture. Okay, let me in the video first. Here we go, ladies and gents. Xeno side-up posters. All I can see in the reflection of this is the ring light and the lights on the floor, and everything he's recorded with. But Nox Gamer's a dumbass, and he said we've got to do this anyway. So yes, Xeno side-up posters. Bye-bye, ladies and gents. Yeah, cheers, man. It's always fun having you on. Anyway, that's the fun we got up to at Blackpool in 2023, ladies and gents, and the games we came back to play. I'm still playing on some of these Saturn games now, and I can tell you guys, these shooters are hard as nails. Take care, guys. I'm going to leave you with something that's not two teddy bears on a rocking chair this time, but equally as disturbing at 2 o'clock in the morning when you come staggering out of a pub. Take care. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.
Yes, people!